and we'll just wait to see that comes on. I'll hit mute. Good afternoon, everyone. DFS NASCAR Raceday show this week. The All-Star race heads to Texas Motor Speedway, so we're going to be checking that out. We are using a new streaming service today, so I just want to make sure that it's working before we really get too deep here. It looks like it's converting over. If you guys can hear us, Dane, how's it going today?
It's going good. Been really busy with soccer a lot last couple days, trying to get the Euros started up, get familiar with all these teams and how they're playing a little differently. But yeah, we got the All-Star race tonight. Quite the different format than what we're really even used to seeing in it. So I think it should be interesting for sure.
Yeah, so one of the big news announcements I talked about we're going to get into before we talk about the All-Star race at Texas here. We mentioned this last week, I believe, but RotoPros is shutting down. Me and Dane, we're a part of RotoPros with Kenny and Ryan. That site is shutting down. We got a lot of members that have already moved over to the Patreon. I have brought all three of Ryan, Kenny, and Dane over. Dane's been doing some work already in the chat. Kenny has joined us as well, and Ryan will be in there soon. So there's a lot going on. So what I wanted to do here, first of all, is just kind of go over the Patreon, and I will switch. We'll just go full screen here. So for $5 a month right now, till the end of June, up till July 1st, $5 a month American gets you one sport, $10 gets you all sports. That's going to be going up to $10 for one sport, $20 for all sports. But anyone that's a current Patreon member, anyone that signs up before July 1st can lock in our current prices and a 16% discount with that if they sign up for a yearly subscription. So that's going to lock in. It's going to be $100, about $100.80, I believe it comes out to American for all sports, and like $51.60 or something like that for one sport. And you can lock that in until July 1st, and then everything's going to be going up. So that would make the yearly subscription around $200. And like I said, the monthly will be $10 for one sport, $20 for two. Couple more things that we're going to be doing here. Here's some sports that we cover. NHL is pretty much wrapped up for the sheet for the season. We're down to like one game, but we do have a lot of coverage in terms of showdowns. Ryan's going to be providing that. College basketball, college football, Dane crushes that. We're going to be back to that very, very soon. League of Legends, I have the new sheet coming out here probably within the week. And Ryan's going to be covering LCS, LEC, while Kenny is going to be covering I believe it's the LPL and LCK. So we got 3 different leagues there, 2 different guys covering it, and I'm going to be handling the sheet. We've got soccer, as usual. Dane's been crushing that here as well. We've got PGA, UFC, college football. I talked about NBA, basketball. Sorry, that's baseball. NFL, NASCAR, and then we also have tennis. Dane's been crushing tennis. I'm going to be adding that here soon as well. So we've got a ton of sheets. So get over, check out that deal. If you got any questions on switching things over, we're going to be going to a Discord chat in July. I'm going to be leaving the Slack chat open to help people transition over there as well. Again, if you got any questions, reach out to either of us anytime in either of the chats, and we'll help you transition over. We got a lot of things coming down the line. Very excited, and thank you all for the support, especially these shows on Sundays. This is the reason why we keep coming back on. Like this week, we did a scheduled show with this new StreamYard. I was able to schedule it and put it out there, and it was just awesome to see people waiting for the show as well as already asking questions. So with that, Dane, let's just jump right in and talk some All-Star race. First of all, I want to know strategy-wise the way you're looking at this. I guess before we even get into strategy, we should talk about the format. So do you have the format in front of you? I do if you do not.
Yeah, I do.
Awesome. So let's go over that real quick. I'm going to bring that up on the screen so anyone watching, you can see that as well. But I'll let you kind of go over it here real quick.
Yeah, so it's quite different kind of from what we're used to seeing. So it's 6 different rounds, very short burst of laps. Round 1 is going to be 15 laps, and the field is inverted. I'm not really familiar. Maybe you've read a little bit more into this, but starting 8th to 12th, they're going to invert the rest of the field is the way that I'm reading that based on a random draw between those positions. Then round 2 is also 15 laps. Entire field will be inverted, and that's going to mix up dominators. We'll get into strategy after I finish this, but it's going to make it where guys can't lead the whole race. They're going to have to come through the field. Round 3 is again 15 laps, and it's going to be just like round 1 inverted, anywhere from 8th to 12th. And then round 4 is 15 laps, just kind of a regular round there. And then round 5 is really crazy. based on cumulative finish in the first 4 rounds is where you're going to start there. And everybody has to pit because they're having like a little shootout for the pit crews. The fastest pit stop gets $100,000, which is a nice little incentive there. And then the last round, they'll be lined up wherever they finish round 5. So that's a little more normal, but it's a very short 10-lap sprint to the finish there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very interesting. Now, another note here on top of that is the downforce package they're using. This kind of leads us into our first question and some strategy here. Is they're bringing that spacer down from 59/64 to 57/64, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it's the same setup they've been using on the super speedways. So we're probably going to see pack racing. That brings us into strategy. First thing that stands out to me when I read that sentence on NASCAR.com here is, first of all, teamwork. Is that something you're looking at?
Yeah, potentially. I think the first and foremost thing I'm looking at is just going to be place differential. I know that's kind of going to be probably most people's strategy, just with how crazy it's going to be. I think just taking the floor and the upside that the people starting in the back gives you, because if you are, and there's some good drivers starting in the back. So, I mean, if you're starting up front, kind of your upside for like Kyle Larson starting first is leading a lot of the race. I mean, it's a short race anyway, so there's not going to be as many dominator points out there. And then the fact that he can't lead the whole race because they're going to start inverting people, invert the whole field in one of the segments. So I don't see the upside really for guys starting all the way at the front. Obviously, they can get back up there and finish. So if you think they win the race, I think would be the only reason that you would possibly play them, just for their finishing points. So what's your take on that? I'm going to be definitely focusing on the guys right below him in pricing: Hamlin, Blaney, Bowman, Truex, all those guys that are starting mid-pack and back.
Yeah, I 100%. I think the way they're running this race with the inverting the field after like 15 laps, it's not going to give guys, a whole lot of dominator upside. I don't think, like, even on the sheet, if I just scroll over here and just look at the DK matrix, that's the thing that really gave me my final opinion. If we give Kyle Larson even the first stage, he leads all 15 laps, 5, fast laps. He's only got an upside winning the race of 51. He gets up into that 30 laps led range, which is 30% of the race, which I still don't think is going to happen. His upside's 55 DK points, whereas Hamlin, Blaney, and Bowman can win the race and top that without being a dominator at all. So that tells me right there that I am 100% going building. And it's so easy, like with the price in here. You've got Hamlin, Blaney, and Bowman in the 9K range, and all have elite place differential upside at the back of the pack. Now, there's still forced places. That's one thing I want to go over here. The reason the sheet looks so weird right now. So 17 drivers are locked into the race. You can see those ranked here already. The other drivers, they have the open, and that starts 2 hours before the race at 6 Eastern. And the winner of each stage 1, stage 2, and the race winner all get into the All-Star race, as well as the fan vote. I don't have the fan voting up, but I believe it was, where were we here? I think Busher was up there. Briscoe was maybe near the top of that right now. But I'll have the sheet updated once we know those final 4 drivers, and they'll be starting 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. So they're going to have some place differential, even more value at the bottom here as well in terms of place differential. So it's going to be the chalk way to build 100%, because you can easily jam Hamlin, Blaney, and Bowman and make a easy lineup when you got Newman at 62, Kurt Busch at 69. So the name of the game 100% is going to be place differential.
Yeah, so kind of the way, because I had some success here last year in the All-Star race. I know it wasn't this crazy format, but it's a much shorter field, even though normally I'm able to narrow it down to 30 cars anyway, but it's even shorter than that this week. But I think where we're going to gain an edge is kind of watching, if you're able to watch the Open, just to see what cars are running very well in that, the ones that are going to qualify. You'll obviously see them, and then maybe people are building right now and not even thinking about that there's going to be 4 other cars added, and they're all going to be starting in the back of the field too. So all 4 of those cars are probably going to be very good plays, and I'll be pretty high overweight on them if I can get it. I don't see any reason not to play them starting back there. And then the other way that I'm going to try to get different is definitely leaving money on the table. I think in some builds, I think that's perfectly fine here tonight.
So JP says ownership's going to be crazy tonight, but there's a few out there with low ownership. Is there anyone that you see maybe has upside that could possibly be low owned here? One that maybe, you know, I think these guys maybe in the 8th, 9th, like your Byron, Kozlowski, Logano, just because I think of maybe that chalk build is those three guys up top, and then like Kurt Busch and Newman. So I think we can definitely, you know, pivot off those guys. I think McDowell's going to be less owned than Newman and Busch. I think Kozlowski and Byron, Logano are going to be lower owned than, you know, Truex, Harvick, Bowman, even though they are more expensive just because of the way you can build. So I think there's definitely some lower ownership builds that you can do tonight. And I do personally like the teams. I think they are going to definitely have some racing, you know, like we see at super speedways. So like Logano, Kozlowski, and Blaney, you get pretty good place differential there. And I don't think that's going to be away from the chalk build. I believe Blaney's going to be high owned, but I think if you fade one of these two or even two of these and go with a couple guys and build a little bit more balance, I think you can fade that ownership. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you can definitely do that. So in that range, in that mid range that might get a little bit overlooked, like you said, I think Byron would be my favorite. Starting kind of mid pack, I don't think. Obviously, he's not got one of the best starting positions, but it's mid pack, and I think he could definitely finish in the top few in this race. Just the way that team has been running overall. Chase Elliott, that's a 8,500. We're used to seeing him up at the top. I know pricing probably doesn't matter at all today, but he's starting 6th. I think is fine. What's your thoughts on Kyle Busch? I mean, he's starting 2nd. That's the main turnoff for me here.
He's going to need to dominate. The price is definitely like 82, so he doesn't need as many points. Like at 8,200, if he ends up leading, let's just give him 15 laps led even. There's 100 laps in this, I believe, right? 100 laps total. Yeah. So we'll just give him 15% of them here. And 5X, like he only needs a 5th or 6th. Like a top 5 is going to get him to value. A win at the All-Star race leading only 15 laps is going to put him like 6, even with 7X upside. So I definitely like that. And I think because of the place differential angle, people might fade him. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight him here. I think he makes a great pivot. If you put him with 2 or 3 of the place differential guys, I think you maybe separate yourself a little bit there as well. So yeah, I think there's some ways to definitely. It really feels like a 20 max here, Dane. 20 max day.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm doing. It's going to be tough to build one lineup, honestly, that's not duplicated. But I really think the key. I mean, most people are going to be smart enough to look back at the field once they get the final 4 people in here. But I really think targeting those guys especially is going to be something I'm going to do.
I love that. I love that angle because especially right now, if people are building right now, Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman down in that price range, even Michael McDowell, all 3 of those I think will be higher owned than, let's say, Reddick, DeBenedetto gets in there, Eric Almirola or Stenhouse or Chris Buescher probably going to get in there is kind of my guess. I think he's going to win a stage. I don't know the starting positions for that race offhand right now. But, you know, one of those guys, I think you're right that they're going to be lower owned because I bet you in the big contests we see, you know, I bet you 20 to 30% of people already entered into the contest not going back and switching their lineups with that new information.
Yeah, I mean, even the 150 priced. It's crazy where they've got them priced. I mean, they should be in the mid 8s with where they're starting. I know they're not the best cars, but Reddick, DeBenedetto, like you said, Almirola, maybe he can get to the end in a crazy format. And Buescher, 5,800. He would be the cheapest price on the slate if he gets in, unless Briscoe is in or Suarez. But he's going to be the cheapest on the slate, and he's going to be starting in the back few positions. And he's been running well all year. I mean, this is just I don't know how you don't go super heavy on those guys.
That's crazy. I'm just going to build a lineup here. Like if we put Hamlin and Truex, we go the teammates that way, and we go say Blaney and Logano. That leaves us 69.50 here. We can go down to, they don't even have those guys in the pricing pool yet, do? Oh yeah, they do. So we are looking for, let's say Busher gets in. That leaves us 8,100 left. You can go with Byron. You can even go Kozlowski and get all three Penske cars. So get in just one of those lower end guys. This is going to make it, a lot of chalk builds for sure. So I would say probably in at least 15 of my 20 lineups here, I'm going to be trying to find a way to pivot off one of the chalk guys, probably even two of them in a lot of my lineups. And Dane nailed it with going after these guys that haven't qualified yet. So make sure to watch that open at 6 Eastern. Winner of stage 1, winner of stage 2, and the winner of the race, and then the fan vote also gets in. So 4 more drivers are going to get into the race. Those 4 drivers are probably going to take on some lower ownership. Great way to pick it today, guys and gals.
Yeah, I was going to play around with builds here just to see what I'm comfortable leaving on the table. I mean, I think it's going to end up being quite the number that I'm okay leaving on the table. Let's see. You go ahead with your.
Yeah.
You got anything else? And I'm going to kind of play around with leaving a bunch of money on the table.
I've got DraftKings up here right now, and I just wanted to go over some contest selection. This StreamYard is just absolutely amazing, by the way. I will be updating this, and we're going to be bringing more to these shows with this StreamYard. That OBS Studios, I literally spent probably 2 hours on between Saturday night late and Sunday morning setting things up. This was like 5 to 10 minutes, so absolutely amazing going forward. We've got a lot more to offer you. But yeah, I want to talk about DraftKings here and some contest selection today. So I'm talking about 20 max. I'm going to be doing the $4 Chrome Horn here. Be $80 to get into that. 17,800 people. If we look at the prize payout of that, it is actually pretty nice. 6K for first, 3,000 for second, 2,000 for third, 1,000 all the way down to your top 5, and then it pays 4,630 people, and you'll make $2 finishing at that lowest point or whatever minimum cash. So that's a contest I really like. I probably enter that most weeks when I'm doing 20 max. If I'm not doing 20 max, I like targeting the $12 single entry engine block, the $3 hot rod, 3 entry max. And I'll usually find 2 of those because they'll open up a secondary one. If you're going 150 max, this would be a nice week to use it and maybe use an optimizer and throw in 150. They got the $15, but by no means do you need to go in the expensive ones. If you just want to play around with an optimizer, we've got hopefully some content coming, some things down the line here with some optimizers that we're going to be using and teaching you how to use and stuff like that. So what I would suggest is just going down to like your quarter jukebox and going in the 150 there. It's like $37.50. You can 150 max that with an optimizer and really play around with builds. I think you can even go down, like here's a 10 cent. I think you can even get down on FanDuel for sure. You can get over to like the dime time, I think they have possibly, or 5 cent contest. So practice at those lower levels first using filters and stuff. So those are some contests I'm looking at today for NASCAR. And then another thing I wanted to talk about here, Dane mentioned it at the start with Larson probably going to be fading him. The way I look at this all-star race in the end, if we're to pick a winner and just kind of disregard the DraftKings side of things, if you're looking at that angle today, either play FanDuel, which is a little more heavy on finishing position versus place differential, or Prize Picks. You can definitely, if you go over to Prize Picks and you're a new customer, use promo code Jaeger, or you can go in the comment section below here or the description, and I've got the link there as well to go sign up. You're pretty much what you have to do is pick 2, 3, 4, or 5 drivers, and they have fantasy points here. So a Chase Elliott 35.5 points means if you go over to my sheet and look at the Prize Picks scoring 35.5, he needs to. So if you pick the over, he needs a top 5 finish. So that's pretty much how that works. They also include, if we look at the full rules and scoring chart here for NASCAR, they also get 0.01 points for a lap led, but I don't see Dominators making a huge difference here. So I'm just looking at over-under. So a couple picks I like today on Prize Picks, just for that finishing position angle. I like Logano at 33.5. That makes him needing a 7th or better. When you've got a field of 21 drivers, the points seem a little bit easier to hit the over this week just because of the limited field on Prize Picks. So I think we should take advantage of that. Alex Bowman, 32. I like that low number. Another one, if you want Kyle Larson, he needs a top 3 finish. So if you feel he's been dominant lately, his crew has been dominant, and that's going to come into play here. I think the best teams are obviously going to finish up front. I don't think we're going to see like wrecks or anything like that. I think we're going to see the best teams finish top 5, especially in terms of combining that. And what stage was that? I think that was the second last stage, round 5, where sometime during that 30-lap stage, they have to make a mandatory pit stop, and that's where that $100,000 comes in, I believe. So that's going to be key in getting out, because that's going to be pretty much the end of the race, because they're going to have that 10-lap sprint at the end. So if you have a bad pit stop there, you ain't winning. So I think the best teams are going to win. So if you want to take advantage of that, either go bet some outrights or head over to Prize Picks. I think a Larson over 37.5 is totally doable. He's definitely been the best team. So that's the way I'm looking at that. Anyone else you're looking at in terms of builds or anything you're looking at there?
Yeah, I was just playing around with some hand builds, and I'm okay leaving quite a bit on the table. It's honestly going to be just like a super speedway. I think somebody in the chat mentioned that before we even came on, but I'm going to be fine leaving maybe even 5,000 or more on the table if I end up doing it. I am building 20 today. I don't think you have to leave that much on the table, because there are some higher price guys like Hamlin, Blaney, and Bowman, and Truex that are good place differential plays. But I think you could play 2 of the guys that get in from the open, depending on who it is, Busher, Chastain, any of those. You can play 2 of them. Reddick, you could play 2 of those, then grab one of the mid-range guys that we said would kind of be going to be a little lower on, Byron. Maybe if you go Kyle Busch, Logano, one of those guys, grab one of them, and then jam a couple up top, and you're going to leave 2,000 or 3,000 probably on the table, which I think will get you different, because you are playing 2 of the guys that aren't in the field currently and that get in late, and you're playing a guy in the mid-range that we think might be a little lower on just because of how the builds are going to go.
Yep, 100% agree there for sure. So yeah, it's any other questions out there? It's pretty straightforward this week, actually. We're looking at place differential, and then there's also, just because of the price with Kyle Busch, we think he's possibly going to be a low on pivot that can get 10 to 15 laps led. Fan votes, Kenny's favorite part. I'm actually going to try and see if I can find that NASCAR All-Star race, if I can spell right. As you can see in chat, I cannot spell very good, and I can't delete my own comment, so that one just has to hang there. I think I spelled 3 out of 5 words wrong. So good on me. I just want to see the standings. There we go. Of course, it would be on NASCAR.com. Once I get that up here. Oh.
So do they really not price some of these guys that are in the open? Are they in the open, or are not even in it? I mean,
I loaded this from the actual the starting lineup for the NASCAR All-Star Open is why I loaded these drivers in there. So from what I assume, they're all in it. So this isn't working. I'm going to go over here, jump over on the NASCAR site here real quick, and we're going to go into Open.
That is crazy. They didn't price them. I mean, it's not like there's that many people they had to price. Just throw something on there for them. Yep. I mean, chances are they're Alfredo made it. I'm going to want to play him. So too bad.
Okay. All right. I can't seem to find what I'm looking for, so we're just going to. All right. What do we got? Last man in GPP on DraftKings, Logano, Keselowski, or Byron? Okay. So Byron starting 8th. It's probably Logano for me. He's been terrific here at Texas. And I agree with Liz. I can see him with the $1 million and his crew with the 100K. That's the other thing I was actually going to look for, was somewhere that shows like crew rankings on NASCAR. You always see it on like Fox on Sunday, but there's really never anywhere that shows it.
So I guess the way that I'm reading that, how that's going to happen is after the 4th segment or whatever, however they're calling it, I can't remember. But after that 4th one, then you have to come down pit road, and that's when they're doing it. whoever has the quickest pit stop, and then they're going to have 30 laps after that are will kind of get the best cars to the front, and then they're going to have a caution and then a 10-lap sprint. So the last 40 laps of the race should be just the best cars getting to the front, in my opinion. Is that how you're kind of seeing it? The first 60, you're going to run 10 to 15 laps and then get through around every other position. I mean, it could be crazy for the first 60, but then the last 40, I think, are going to be best cars leading, getting up front, and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. You guys throw out any more picks out there, or picks to win? Anything you guys want to know? Anything you want to go over on the cheat sheet? Definitely. If not, we're going to wrap things up here right away. But stay tuned to the chat. That, like I said, that NASCAR All-Star Open starts at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 p.m. my time. It's probably going to be about, I forget how many laps it is. Sorry about that. But I think it's going to be about 20, 30 minutes, and they're going to have maybe even up to 45 to an hour possibly. But we're going to know, after stage one, who's in after stage two, and then the end of the race, and then the fan vote. Stay tuned to chat. I'll have the finishing picks up here. I'll clear up the sheet of all the guys that didn't make the race, finalize my picks, and then we will be in chat answering your guys' question. Have fun, Liz. I know you're at the track today. I know you got a hot pass, so pretty jealous here that you're going to be sitting in Texas, although it's hot. So stay hydrated out there. We don't want to lose you. What else we got? Kenny, 100 laps. Could end up going like 115 with all the stage breaks. No, that's the other thing is the laps that count are only green flag laps for the All-Star race. So when it says 15 laps for that stage, it will be 15 green flag laps. So thank you, Andrew.
So the starting lineup, it looks like it will be 21 cars in the open, and Reddick will be on the pole with Busher on the front row as well. And then the second row is DiBenedetto, Stenhouse. So that's kind of, as Kay says there, I think Reddick is going to get in. Do you have how long each stage is in the open?
Oh, I'm just going to bring that up. I had it up.
The cars that I like the most out of it, and I'm hoping get in, are Reddick, Busher. I think DiBenedetto got in last year, which it was at Bristol last year, I think. Chastain is another one I would like to see in. And Stenhouse, with how we know crazy he drives, maybe he's one that his aggressive nature would pay off for him here in the All-Star race. So maybe him. Those are the main ones that I want to see get in, is Reddick, Busher, Chastain would be the top three.
Yep. Okay, so the open will be 3 segments, 20, 20, and 10. So we'll one driver after 20 laps, another driver after 20 laps, and then the final driver after 10 will get in. So, yeah, my favorites, I guess, just looking at the starting lineup, Reddick and Briscoe for sure, I think, get in. Those are two guys, provided there's not like something weird, but I think Busher would be my number 3. And then I think it's kind of open after that who's going to get in, who I would like to see in. Probably Matty D. He's always entertaining, or him or Bubba Wallace in the 23. So I think 3 are kind of not a lock, but would definitely be my favorites to get in. So if you're building lineups, those are some guys I'm probably going to build some lineups with as we lead into that open, and then I'm just going to adjust my 20 max once we know that full starting lineup. And again, join us in either in the RotoPro Slack chat that's going to be open till the end of the month, and then we're going to be switching that over. Some members have already moved over to our Patreon. We've got a Slack chat over there as well. That's going to be open until the end of July as we switch over to Discord July 1st. That's going to give us a month to help everyone kind of switch over. And Discord, it's just a little bit different. It's it's the same kind of chat thing, but it gives us more power on our end to do more for you guys as well. It's just more user friendly on the user side of things as well. So it may take a little bit of adjustment, but we're here to answer any questions, guide you in the right spots. But definitely hit us up with any questions along the way to help you transition over. And remember, you can get over to patreon.com/Jagerbombs until July 1st. And if you sign up for a yearly, you can lock in today's prices with a 16% discount on that as well, locking into a year. So go check that out and reach out to us anytime. Any final words?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the the All-Star race. It's always a fun one just to see because they are, like we've mentioned, racing for that $1 million. So it's going to be crazy those last 10 laps for sure. And then the last thing, I will be back tonight again with another short video breaking down tomorrow's Euro slate that we've been doing some of those for baseball and some other sports too. So I'm going to have that up in the chat, probably 8 or 9 Eastern, I'm hoping tonight, talking about tomorrow's 3-gamer.
Yes, that's something for you members out there, for you non-members, I guess I should say. Just, reach out to any of our members, through these chats. We've started a lot more. You may have noticed a lot of these breakdowns throughout the week now, these short little videos, members only stuff. So if you want more of this members only videos, definitely give us some feedback and let us know in the chat, because we do have a lot of these programs that we've just found that are making it a lot easier to bring you these short slate breakdowns, write-ups, weather updates for all sports. So definitely head into patreon.com/JagerBombs and join our winning team today. Thank you to everyone for joining in. Stay cool out there for anyone going to the race. And if you're ever in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, make sure to head down to Rosie's and ask the server, Ryan, on the weekend. That's my brother. He's there working. So he's probably going to be watching the race. So cheers to him today. Good luck, everyone. Have a good day.
Yeah, good luck.